Hey, how's everybody doing today? I got a request from Kohl out in Kansas. He's got a carburetor on a 1957, I believe, Evinrude. But even if I got the year wrong, we got the part numbers correct. He's got a carburetor giving him some trouble. I've been trying to help him out, texting back and forth, but he can't get his low speed jet out, so I'm gonna rebuild this carburetor for him and box it up real good and send it out to him. But I told him I'd make him a video so he can see how it's done. First thing I'm going to start with is I'm going to get that Welch plug out of the top of the carburetor, and what I like to do is just drill a little hole in it so I can put a screw in it. Now you want to be careful that when it punches through that you're not going to damage anything inside. Just go real slow. I'm not using the handle to, there we go. Okay, there that is. The reason we're drilling a hole in there is so we can get a screw in it and then use the screw for something to pull on. Okay, now I'm going to put the camera on the little tripod. I got the best equipment ever. I got this at Menards. I get all my YouTube supplies at Menards. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna go around the other side of my workbench and make sure you can see. I gotta find a better way to do all this stuff. There we go. Just holler if you can't see, okay, and I'll come around and move it. Alright, so this is just an old screw that I saved from some piece of junk I tore apart. I got coffee cans full of crap like that. We just screw it in here. And pop it out. Now I'm going to take it over to the, I'll bring the air over to the camera, how's that? Be right back. Blow it out. Okay, and then we're going to take the bowl off. We're going to take it all apart. And then we're going to give it a bath in the ultrasonic. So there's 5 screws in this one. Don't forget to go to your local Family Dollars on the Dollar Tree side and get some of these for $1.25, because due to inflation the dollar store now costs $1.25. I use that joke all the time. But we keep all our parts in there, because if you're like me, you got 25 motors going at once. Because when I gotta wait for a part, I grab another motor and start doing something to that one. I don't let the grass grow under my feet much. In my videos, I always show the complete disassembly process, so you can fast forward through it if you want, but these videos that I make are for people that don't know how it comes apart. And sometimes that's just as important as how it goes together. Okay, you want to be careful, because if you pull on it too hard trying to get it apart and all of a sudden it lets loose, you could damage something. Wow, that's a nice looking float. This carb's been worked on before. That's an upgraded float. It's exactly like the one I'm putting in it. You can tell by the looks of the material. But Kohl's paying for a brand new one, so Kohl's getting a brand new one. I'll save this in my parts reserve box for emergency weekend stuff. I'm putting the old stuff over here. In this tray, the stuff that's not going back on Kohl's carburetor is going right here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is take out the old seat. I keep leaning over to make sure I'm still in the frame. I save everything. I even got a box of parts that says, I wrote on it with a Sharpie, parts that are too junky to save. Now, I borrowed that from Paul Harvey. Alright, so we're going to take this out. You're going to find a nylon seal on the bottom. That goes right here. So when you get a carb kit, it's going to come with more things than you need. Don't panic if you got stuff left over. As long as it's the right stuff left over. Because it's they package them up to fit more than one carburetor. But anyway, take this out, and this is going to go in the save it for later box. Yeah, there's this one. The old one is says A59. I don't think that means much. It's like a part run number. And the other one says B11, but that's not. This is the old one, so I'm going to put it over there. And this is the old gasket. It's going over here. But I save it all because if I get a guy that wants to get his motor running and he doesn't have a lot of money, this kit cost $38.49 plus the governor of Michigan. That's 6%. This hasn't been rebuilt all that long ago, but I did notice when I was working on it, whoever rebuilt it forgot to put any packing in, and so they probably didn't get a very good running motor because it was leaking around the needles. It must have been. And also they used RTV on the intake side instead of using the gasket. I don't know why anybody would do that. If they got the carb kit, they would have all that stuff. Now we're going to take out the emulsion tube, or some people call it the main jet. That goes right in here. I kind of took that off too quick. Maybe you didn't see it, but there will be a couple different types of seats, or I mean gaskets for that to sit down against. I watched one YouTube guy put this big fat O-ring on a carb like this. That's not the right one. You do not want to use this one. It's not the right one. Not for this carburetor. The one you want to use that's supplied with the kit is right here. It's obviously different. It has square edges. It's not a round overgrown O-ring. So that's the one that we're going to use for the emulsifying tube. Here's the old one. Also, it comes with different size Welch plugs for different carburetors. So we set that over there. Get your emulsion tube out. There'll be 3 holes in it if you're working on the same carburetor. I have an ultrasonic. I'm going to be putting all this stuff in except for things like the float and rubber gaskets. You don't want to put any of that stuff in there. In the kit you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packings. Now I like to use 2 packings and then the nylon. The nylon helps it slide when you're putting it back together and making your adjustments. I've taken many carburetors apart and I have only seen a few of these being used. Could be because somebody just didn't know, or a preference to use 3 packings instead. But let's dump all this stuff out. Oh, by the way, the part number that I'm using today is 439071. I hope you can see that. This carburetor goes on the 7.5s from the 50s. Evinrude or Johnson. Okay. Next we're going to take out the gland nut. This is a gland nut. The short one goes on the top in this case, and the longer one goes on the bottom. Down inside there you're going to see 4 holes. There's 2 bigger ones and 2 smaller ones. What you want to do is, I like to take a flashlight and shine it in. Once you take the needle out, that would be the low speed. If I said that backwards a few minutes ago, I apologize. But I like to shine a flashlight in there, because then you'll see that light. Then you can see if there's anything you need to delicately pick out. Well, this is your low speed needle. This one doesn't look too bad. It's not bent. Doesn't look like anybody over tightened it when they're trying to adjust it. I don't know how good the camera's gonna focus on it, but it looks pretty good. I'm rolling it all the way around. Okay, so we got the low speed needle. It's always pointier than the other. We have the emulsifying tube. We have gland nut 1 and gland nut number 2. The spring I'm going to throw in here. And then there's a little spacer. It goes in front of the air silencer as you put this back into the air silencer. But I don't want that going in the ultrasonic. Sometimes these will fall apart, but don't fret if it does. The motor will run good without it. This one seems like it's going to be alright, but that's just it goes on the gland nut, and then I'll grab the silencer. It goes through there. So it's not doing anything for your carburetor per se. But we just don't want to put that in the chem dip. We drop that down in there. So we got 2 gland nuts. We have the emulsifying tube, the low speed needle, and then where did I put the bowl? Oh, right here. Now we're going to take that one out. Oh, that's why this gland nut goes to a different carburetor. Sorry about that. The short one, I'm sorry, goes on the high speed needle. Okay, we pull that out. Good, the packing came with it, because a lot of times I've had to dig and pick and scrape to get all those out of there. And when I do a carburetor, I get it clean. I don't leave nothing behind, so it drives me crazy when this one popped right out. Well, there's more than one there, but they're stuck together. So you want to look in here and make sure that you got all the packing out. Lightly check. You don't want to scratch and gouge on it, but just feel around with your pick. Make sure you got all that stuff out. Okay, so we got the bowl, and now we're going to take off the glass bowl separator. This lets any impurities that gets in your gas drops down into the bottom of the glass. Just popping this straight off. And hopefully that gasket's good, because that doesn't come with it. See, this wasn't even hooked up. It fell off. But this will spin right on here. Ooh, that's got that old varnish smell. But when it's all assembled properly, this brass spin thumb nut, or whatever you want to call it, holds that filter on there. If you ever had a fish tank, that's the only way I can describe what this feels like and looks like. You know, the little aerator that you drop in the bottom of your fish tank. That's kind of what that reminds me of. But I'm going to put that in the ultrasonic, and I'm going to carefully pull this out. A lot of times these are cracked and dried out. Just want to be real easy with it. I'm going to set that over here in your Family Dollar bucket. We don't want to put any rubber parts in the ultrasonic. I don't want to stress that too much, but then I don't want you not to hear about it. This is, you can wipe this out and shoot it with a little carb spray, or you can put it in the ultrasonic. So I got it, I'm going to put it in there. Okay, then we have, oops, I got one fastener to get out. We have one more thing we can take off over here. Now I've had these be seized in there many times, and I've just gone ahead and left them go. You don't want to get too crazy with it and end up damaging your carburetor trying to get something out. Yeah. I could finish some wood products with this varnish. It's got that smell. This is a very small part, so you're going to want to make sure you keep track of that. Take that off, drop it over here. Okay, now this here, this is your inlet for your fuel. A lot of times, if a motor has been not very well taken care of, you'll find a bunch of crud in there. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at the end of my carb spray straw. That black gob of gook wasn't on the end of the straw when I pushed it, before I pushed it through. I don't know if you can see it. See that black stuff? Now let's flip it around and see if we can get any more of it out. But it fits real nice in there. It's just the, you know, the straw that comes with your... Yeah, there's some more coming out. Black tarry stuff. So I'm going to blow that straw out and just push it through there a couple more times. And this too is when it goes through the ultrasonic, it's going to clean up too. Okay, that's everything that we can take off of here. I'm not going to mess with that. That might be pressed in, I don't know. I've never taken one out because I don't want to damage it. As long as you get it clean, it doesn't have to come out. Okay, so that's everything off of there that we want to take off. And we've got everything off of here. So let's walk over to the ultrasonic. Don't mind the shop, the janitor didn't come in today. Kidding. Also, there's a little basket to put the smaller parts in. Find it. Yeah, I got a couple of projects going here. There it is. Set you back down. Put the gland nut in there. You can't fit a whole lot in there. It's not very big. That fits. That. The reason I put it in here is some of that stuff can fall through the strainer or the basket. These other three, and this is going into, and this. We'll set it for 20 minutes. I picked this here up from on Amazon. It wasn't too awful bad. I'll have to look it up and I'll put it in the description. It was well under $200. I like to get that down as low as it can go just because I don't know what the flash point of gunk parts cleaner is. Okay, we're going to call that video part 1 of Kohl's carburetor. Kohl from Kansas and his carburetor. I'm not going to give his last name out of respect. But we'll see you in 15 minutes. Thanks for watching.